So if you're going to do any social media, you need to do it consistently and you need to do it well. If you don't have the time to be involved in it, then that becomes a real problem. There's nothing worse than going to a LinkedIn page that has no activity, or a Facebook page even for that matter that has no activity that's your business. So people tend to validate your business through your social media now. They do that more with social media than they do with, say, your web page or maybe your online listing. You know, I know a lot of businesses who have like their Google listing, but it's not updated. You know, their address changes, but they don't want to have to go through the bells and whistles to get that fixed. So we're going to talk about having a complete profile. That definitely increases your visibility. Engagement matters. Like I said, consistency is key. It's not all about you. I know everybody thinks it's my business. It's my business. Why don't people come to my business? Well, you have to share. And so it's not all about you. Those who give, get. Be real and be helpful. Create lead lists and how to use them. So if you're in business for yourself and you're looking for clients, LinkedIn is a fabulous place to find clients because of their advanced search capabilities. Another thing is involvement matters. Utilize groups. If you can utilize your groups in your target markets, you can really become an expert in the field. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. Oh, went a little too fast there. So, how complete is your profile? 14 times more likely to be looked at if you have a completely filled out profile. So, how many of you have a completely filled out profile? Are y'all all-stars? The all-stars are my favorite people because, yeah, you can find anything about them. Okay, so now if your profile isn't complete, then you may not show up in LinkedIn search as much. You may not show up on Google search as much. So having those two in your back pocket is a really great thing because if somebody puts your name in the search engine and it pops up with your profile, hello, they're looking right at you. The next thing, LinkedIn walks you through everything that you need to know to complete your profile. So, you know, those little questions that'll pop up, where did you go to school? You know, how long have you been at this job? Are you still at this job? Answer those questions because those questions help to complete your profile. You know, you can have a wonderfully complete profile, but that is not the end-all, be-all. You want to be able to stand out. So how do you stand out? What do you do to stand out? Do you do anything special that makes yourself stand out? What?
Share content.
You share content, yeah. What else? Is there anything else you do?
Wear red sneakers.
Wear red sneakers. Or brightly colored toenails. Okay, so now, let's talk about reviewing your profile. So most of you have your profile. You know what it says. You know where you've worked, what you've done. It's your resume, blah-de-blah-de. So now, you think about what your profile has on it. Ask yourself, does it get me the business that I want? Are you getting business from your LinkedIn profile? Are people contacting you about what you do? Anybody? You have some interaction on your profile?
Oh,
Every day. Now, see? Yeah? Anybody else? Anybody struggle with that?
Well, I get a lot of yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is salesman.
Yeah, you'll get a lot of salesmen. Now, let's talk about being able to make your profile kind of weed out your good leads versus your bad leads. You know, those people that you don't really want hanging out on your front door. So, what do you write to get the client that you want? All right. First, we're going to talk about how you qualify a lead. We're going to talk about these questions. So if you're talking to yourself on a piece of paper and you write down these things, so how do you qualify your leads? If you think about how you qualify a lead, what is your best person? What kind of language do you use? You know, if you use a lot of jargon, we all have that, you know, jargon that's native to our business, but your customer doesn't use that jargon, Are they able to find you? So you have to think in the terms of what your customer wants, what your customer is looking for. Describe what makes your perfect client. So if you have this list kind of going on of the perfect person that you want to do business with, and you write it out and say, okay, I want somebody that makes, $500,000 a year, and they're vice president or above, or they're, I don't know, maybe in the boating industry, So you have all of these criteria of your perfect client. All right, so now, well, let's see. Think about what your best client is, who you serve the best, who is your best client. So you have your perfect client and you have your best client. Do those two line up? Think really hard about how they line up, because those two things make a big difference in how you word your profile. If your customer, your dream customer, is one thing, but your best customer, the best paying person you have, is something different, you may need to rethink that strategy just a little bit. So, and all of that plays into your keywords and how you phrase things. So, now think about what sets you apart from your competition. You have so many things, and everybody says, oh, I give the best customer service. I'm just the best at customer service. Well, everybody should be the best at customer service. There's got to be something else that sets you apart. You want to do something that makes you stand out. Why do you do what you do? People want to know the why of what you do. They say that the why, people care more about the why than they do the what. So think about why you do what you do. Write that out. Now, have you reviewed your competitors' pages? You know who your top competitors are? Review what their LinkedIn profiles say. Review what their business pages say. Review what their website says. Write down what you like and what you don't like about it. Find out what gets them the clients and what doesn't. Use those things in your profile. If you can utilize what the other guy is doing to get business, it can be a nice factor to pull business away from them and pull it to you. Now, I'm not saying to degrade your competition. That's never a nice thing. But definitely know what they're doing out there in the social realm. Because if they're doing something bad, then that just makes you look better. But if they're doing something really good, you need to figure out how to capitalize on that. All right. Oops, I got too happy there. Knowledge is power. After answering the questions, you should have a whole list of keywords now that you may have never thought about. So those keywords can really make a big difference in your profile. But remember, keywords aren't fairy dust. You can't just sprinkle them willy-nilly. They have to have some meaning and some context. You can't just plop in keywords with, stars in between them and say, this is everything I want people to find about me. People will search for keywords, but Google, when it crawls across it, is going to look at context. LinkedIn, when they look across it, they will look for context. So having context in your message makes a difference. And it also makes it for better readability. I mean, nobody really wants to see a bunch of emojis and stars, so so make it real, make it interesting. Oops, back. Hello, I'm getting too fast here. Okay, now where do your keywords go? When you have your keywords all written out, you kind of know what you've done all your homework on your questions. So where do you put your keywords? Keywords make a great big difference. So you're going to put your keywords in your headline. You're going to put your keywords in your summary. You're going to put your keywords in your job titles and your experience, in recommendations and your skills. So all of those things help to bring in business. So what's in your headline? How do you describe yourself? When you think about who I am and what I do, how do you describe yourself? When you think about what your profile, right under your name, what does that say? Does it say sales? Do you just do sales? Everybody does sales. Does it say owner? Now, there's nothing wrong with being sales or with being owner, but there has to be more description. You have to say what you do for a person. People search for what they need. So what are you going to do for that person, for that client, for that perfect customer? What are you going to do for them? People want to know that. So make sure that your headline says, boom, I can do this for you. All right, I put up a couple here. I love this. Now, I picked some of the most non-sexy kind of job descriptions that you can think of. So this guy does retirement planning, which is, just really sexy. So he says, I help owners and professionals and retirees gain clarity, confidence, and peace of mind to ensure financial success. Do you get what he does? Does that make sense? I mean, you can tell. So if you were going to search for somebody and you were going to look at his profile, you'd say, I might be willing to do business with him. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about. The next one says, Kelowna accountant and business advisor, helping businesses, startups, and real estate investors experience growth and profits. So, hello, I want growth. I want profit. Okay. The next one I just love because he's James Kirk. And who doesn't love James Kirk? What draws you in is his picture. So picture is very important, people. Picture draws you in, but he actually tells you what he does. He's a medical sales representative. There's his sales title. But he also tells you he's seeking opportunities in dental, medical device, and biotech sectors. So he tells you what he's looking for. He tells you the kind of client that he needs. So if you have a client that you're looking for, you can use this. You can use that headline for your advantage. So your headline needs to say what you do, who you do it for, how it benefits the readers, and you have 120 characters. Make the most of that 120 characters. So many times people will just put in a tagline or a headline and it just be a couple of words, really short and sweet. But you can really use that ability to your best advantage. Whoops. I'm getting really fast here. Okay. What's your story? So now we're going to talk about your summary. So talk about what your story is. Think about how you go about your business, how you go about your day. What do you want people to know about you? So tell your story, be authentic. So really who you are. It's not like, Match.com where you get to make things up. And put somebody else's picture up. Hope somebody calls you. What's your superpower? What do you do better than anybody else? What are you the most awesome at? How are you different? Differentiation makes a big difference. So you have to be a little different to stand out. Okay. Come on, baby. Talk to me. There we go. What do you want the reader to do? Call to action. Use your summary for a call to action. Do you want them to, call you? Do you want them to email you? Do you want them to email you in LinkedIn? Do you want, to visit your webpage? You can include your website in your summary. Whoops, back again. Back. Okay. Back it up with stats. Do you have statistics that say you are the best, you are the top 10 in your field, you have increased sales by 20%, you have, you're maybe the top 40 over 40 or under 40 or however that goes. Do you have statistics that say why you're great at what you do? Statistics, some people just love those numbers. So if you can include those numbers, make it happen, put it in there. Awards. They don't give them out to just anybody. Well, they do now, but Yes.
I'm not trying to sell myself on this. I'm trying to give put as your lead line American Cars, American Girls, and put your name someplace else, or whether you can put Tom Piper, owner of?
I would personally put Tom Piper, owner of,
Okay,
you know, and then tell, you know, if you can branch in and put it, why you do what you do, why you're passionate about what you do. Those things make, people want to do business with people, not with businesses. Does that make sense? They want to do business with people that they know, people that they like, and people that they trust.
okay.
So if you can make them know, like, and trust you, that you're in there. So those are the things that really help. If you have awards, if you've gotten, well, in advertising, it would be the Addy. If you've gotten an Addy, then you would put that in this section in your summary. If you've gotten, you know, the Better Business Bureau Award for an outstanding A+++ business, then you would put that in there. Anything that you can do that makes you stand out and showcase that you are exceptional, you want to use in your summary. You have 2,000 characters to use for your summary. So you can play with it, you can change it up, you can, you know, tweak it as much as you need to. You know, you can leave it up and get feedback, and then have people, you know, comment, say, you know, whether they like it. You can send out personal messages and ask people, you know, what do you think? Get a little feedback. It's never bad to have somebody proofread your stuff, ever. Yeah.
Should this be in paragraph form or can it be kind of bullet?
It can be bullet points, it can be paragraph form. It's whatever works best for you. Now, if you do business in bullet points, then bullet points are good. If the people that you do business with more frequently speak in bullet points, doctors are that way. They want it boom, 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 boom. You know, so if the people that you're doing business with are bullet point people, bullet points. If they're not, if they're writers, they like paragraphs. So it just depends on, you know, think about your customer, because that's who you're trying to draw in. So think about who your driver is. Know your market, know your audience, and know your clients. So if you can figure out who's driving Miss Daisy, you can figure out how to get where you want to go. You know, if there are things in your marketing plan, now, and that's one thing I will say, your marketing plan needs to coincide with all of your social media. I think consistency across the board is very important, whether it's the look, the feel, it all needs to coincide with your marketing. So think about that too. Oop, bang, bang. Okay. Now, when you're writing all of this stuff, these are the buzzwords for this year, or 2015. These are the things to avoid. Do not put these in your profile, because everybody and their brother has them in their profile. And motivated has probably been on the top of the list for the last, I don't know, 10 years. So, yes, are you passionate? You're passionate. Everybody's passionate. Creative. There are so many people who are creative thinkers, creative. And when you're in a creative field, that's really hard to say, well, I'm not creative because everybody else is creative. So how do you word things differently? Get out the thesaurus and kind of go through it. Extensive experience. Responsible, I kind of have a little issue with that, because I really want to work with somebody who's responsible. So, you know, you can kind of take these with a grain of salt. But those are the buzzwords that everybody's using in their profiles. So those are kind of the things that if you can avoid those and still get your message across, that's a good thing. Track record, strategic track record, organizational, and expert. So guru is another one that's not on the list, but a lot of people use is guru. I think that's probably number 11. But okay, talk about your network. So you have your first degree connections, your second degree connections, and your third degree connections. How many people convert their second degree connections? Okay, all right. So when you're on LinkedIn, there are the first degree connections are the people that you know that you have accepted a friend or a friend. Listen to me, Facebooking. That you have accepted a connection with, or they have asked you to connect and you've accepted. So those are your first degrees, and those are people that you should be interacting with on a pretty regular basis. Now, a lot of times, you know, you get a whole bunch of followers, or yeah, they're followers, you get a whole bunch of people in your connections and you don't keep up with them. And that can be business laying on the table, folks. If you're not in contact with your first degree connections, that can be business on the table. Now, your first degree connections can lead you to your second degree connections. Now, a second degree connection is, say, I know you and you know him. So now I'm going to ask you to introduce me to him. So how do you do that? Well, you send him a little note and you say, hey, I saw that you have a connection with so-and-so. So now I would really like to get to know so-and-so. Could you introduce me? So you send them that little in-mail, and I think on the free version you get like 10 a month. So you use those 10 to get people to introduce you to other people. They introduce you, you hook up, and they're a connection. So now you interact with them on a regular basis. So now, the second degree connections are people that you know him and he knows her. So now you have 3. So the third level, now if you've finally got a second degree connection, now your second degree connection is a first degree connection, and your third degree connection becomes a second degree connection. So it just kind of follows suit.
Sheldon, what do you
Mhm.
mean by being in contact with your first level connection? Do you mean just by sending out stuff, or do you mean something more than that?
Well, it can be a variety of things. It can be whether you post, if you publish online, if you publish in LinkedIn so that you have, a following, people follow you, just much like they would in Facebook, they would follow your post. And you can actually have, and I think I have it in here later, that you can actually have people who follow you that are not your connections. If you're active in a group, that's another way to interact with your first degree connections if they're in the same group as you. Another way to interact is either send them a happy birthday or congratulations. I do this every day. First thing I do when I get up, I pull up my LinkedIn app, and there are all of my people that have a birthday, or all of my people that have just got a new job. And you send them a little personal note that says, hey, happy birthday, hope you're having a great day, or, just something so that you stay in front of them. So.
I do that
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
Okay.
And LinkedIn usually provides a little sentence.
If you can change up that little sentence and make it personal, especially if you really know the person, if you can make it personal. Sometimes happy birthday is just happy birthday.
Yeah.
I mean, hey. But
Is it too commercial if I just put, after that I have copy and paste, I put check out American Cars, American.
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't?
I wouldn't. And I'll tell you why I wouldn't do that.
But see, it's got my name on there, so American Cars, American Girls never comes up if you don't do that.
Yeah. But do you want people to do business with you, or do you want people to do business with your business? Do you see what I'm saying?
I want to do business with my business.
I'm a big fan of the 80-20 rule, which is 80% about everybody else and 20% about you. Because if you're always pushing sales, people will avoid you like the plague.
I'm not trying to sell them anything, I'm just trying to send them. interest.
Yeah, it sounds salesy though, doesn't it? Yeah. And that's exactly what, that red flag goes up, oh, he's pushing himself again, he's pushing his business again. And rather than it being an honest interaction with, I'm thinking about you, and, thanks for wishing me happy birthday. But if you put your business on the end of it, then it's,
But can I put it with my name, like Tom? Not go to, just as part of my name?
well, yeah, you could.
Okay.
You can send them a picture of your website, put a car on it, it's for your birthday present.
There you go, yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I've got an avatar that
Yeah, yes. Images are great. Images are great. You can definitely use images to your benefit. If you have a picture of a car and it says happy birthday on it, send that. Why not? I think, imaging, especially like if you use things like Instagram, that's all about the image. So, anytime you can use that, that's a good thing. But you don't want it to be salesy. Okay. So, now, the confusing change I was talking about, you know, connections and followers. LinkedIn kind of changed its verbiage a little while back. So every connection automatically becomes a follower. They follow you, boom, you're there. But you can have followers who are not connections. So that means people outside of your network may follow what you do. And competitors do this a lot. They want to follow what you're doing so that they can see what you're up to. So if you have 25 connections and 35 followers, you have 10 followers who are happening outside of your connection. If you can click on that little, under the little thing that says followers, you know, there's a little blue, it's blue and highlighted. You can click on that. Yeah.
Can anyone be followed? Or just like company pages or those influencer
It depends.
people?
It depends on how their privacy settings are set. But for the most part, yeah.
Where can you see that, your followers potentially?
Generally, it's on your profile.
No,
No, that's your followers.
Yeah, and if you click on that, boom, you have a list.
oh,
Yeah.
How do you use your?
How do I use my? You can, oh, there's a whole lot. We'll get to that. There's a whole lot of ways you can use your list. So, all right, engage. How do you engage? What do you use to engage your public? You have all of these followers. So now what are you going to do with them? How are you going to make them see you and stand out again? All right. According to QuickSprout, LinkedIn has 3 times the visitor to lead conversion over Facebook. So that means somebody who visits your page becomes a lead. becomes a lead. So 3 times more. Okay. Using advanced searches and safe searches to find new customers. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Posting in the morning, they say, is one of the best times. And again, I think that really follows suit pretty much, but depending on what kind of business you have, you know, you can find out what your optimal times are. Monday through Friday for businessy, you know, they say Monday through Friday, but I find people are on LinkedIn in the weekends too, you know. Posting 20 status updates a month will likely help you reach 60% of your audience monthly. So out of all of those people that you are trying to interact with, like Carol said, on your network, if you post 20 times a month, and that's not even, you know, the whole enchilada, you're likely to have much more interaction with the people that you're trying to reach. Know the members, know what members are interested in. 60% of industry updates and 43 are looking for special, I can't tell what it says. So, they're looking for something special, but what is it? We don't know. We don't know because the slide cut off. It cut off here too, so.
Yeah, up here too.
Okay. What to post? Okay, you had a question?
You may be about to answer this, but I sort of am following a question that came from here a couple minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
When you said send out status updates, what sort of updates do you mean? Just like, oh, I started this new job, or something more
Aha.
communicative than
Yes,
that?
that's exactly what we're
Okay.
going to get into now. All right, so share your expertise. How else do you become an expert in the field if you don't ever talk about what you're good at? So share your expertise. And this can be done in a variety of ways. You can interact with groups. You can post long-form posts, like a blog on LinkedIn, and you can actually link that blog into your profile. So when people see your profile, they see that post. You can also do videos, which is really cool, so I'll get to that later. LinkedIn can appeal to a great variety of people. So think about what you're posting, and again, think about your keywords. LinkedIn advises that your followers are active on LinkedIn because they want to be more productive, successful professionals. Informative, useful updates receive the highest engagement rates because that's the information members expect from companies they follow on LinkedIn. So when you post something, you think about, am I being informative? Am I being helpful? Am I being genuine? Those are all things that you really want to make sure that your audience knows about you. You also want to make sure that you're not being too salesy again. You want to make sure that you're kind of following that 80-20 rule. It's people who are more helpful tend to get more business from LinkedIn. And there again, people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if you're willing to help someone, you're more likely that they're going to help you. You know, I would recommend Lisa in a heartbeat because I know, like, and trust her. You know, so if you have that relationship, it's all about relationship. Even though it's online, this is just like networking in public. If you walked into a networking event, would you walk up to somebody and automatically just go into the sale? Boom. No, you're going to say, hi, how are you? This is who I am. This is what I do. This is why I do what I do. What do? You're going to have a two-way conversation. So you want LinkedIn to be that two-way conversation. You don't want to be the guy at the party that everybody runs away from. You know, you want to be that person that they go to and say, hey, you know, I need help with this. What do you suggest? You want to be the person that says, oh, I could help you with that. Let me see. Or, oh, you have a job posting open? Let me see. I think I know somebody who might fit that. So if you can help, and it can be a variety of ways that you can help. It doesn't have to just be related to your business or to their business.
When you make a post,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to all your first
Mhm.
level
Yeah.
through their
It'll show up,
messages?
it shows up in their news feed. It will not show up in their
News feed.
messages.
Okay.
News feed works just like Facebook's news feed. You have a scrolling, rolling list of people that, you know, they've posted something recent. So you can scroll through and you can see what everybody's doing. So it's just a generalized news feed of everything that's going on. Now, if you're not on LinkedIn, if you're just on there to check and see, you know, if you have any in mail or to post something, but you never look at your news feed and see what other people are doing, you're missing a big opportunity. Because sometimes it will be, a post from, say, a group that you're involved in. Or it will be a post from a colleague of yours that needs something that you can offer. Or something that you can comment on and maybe make yourself an expert in that field. So you want to pay attention to the people that you follow as well as those that follow you. So you want to kind of keep up with that. Now, building lead list, that's the meat. That's the meat that goes with the potatoes. All of LinkedIn's features, and I have a little handout here that I want to pass around. Take it and start here and just pass it around. Building lead lists is one of the things that makes LinkedIn stand out, I guess, against anything else. Now, if you have the paid version, they have a lead builder. Now, if you don't have the paid version, you can still do what Lead Builder does through the advanced search. And we'll kind of get a little bit into that.
Can I ask you your opinion? Is it worth the money to get to use the paid version of LinkedIn?
I have done both. Currently, I'm on the free version. When I worked at an ad agency, they paid for the big fancy version, and I used it. I get just as much interaction. I had, 700 connections before I ever went paid.
Okay.
So I don't really see, there are a few bells and whistles that make it a little easier.
Okay.
So really depending on what you want to do. But for small business, free version works. Yes.
Something to check is just recently, like maybe the beginning of April, because LinkedIn bought lynda.com, the
Mhm.
training site. Some
Oh.
of the paid versions now are including a Lynda subscription with that,
Mhm.
so that might make it worth it.
Yes. Yes.
I've
And
heard a lot about Lynda.com.
and I highly recommend lynda.com for training.
Switch me over to the other one.
Lynda.com, Lynda. It's a training website that has video training sessions. So anything that you want to learn how to do, say you want to learn how to use QuickBooks, lynda.com will teach you how to use QuickBooks. If you want to, Yeah, it does all of the Adobe. It does any of the graphics programs that you want to learn, InDesign, social media. Marketing, if you have marketing, they have classes. Lynda.com has virtually classes on anything you could probably think about. And writing, if you need help with writing, they have great little tutorials on writing. And you can just plug in, play a video, and kind of learn from home or the comfort of your iPhone or, just wherever. So it makes it really, really, really helpful. But yes, LinkedIn did buy Lynda.com, and they also bought SlideShare. So if you're familiar with SlideShare, LinkedIn now owns SlideShare. So any slide decks,
Slideshow?
SlideShare.
What does it do?
SlideShare is a library of people's presentations from everything and every topic that you can imagine. Yeah, yeah, and people will, like say this presentation, they will take this presentation, put it up online so anybody can access it, and you can go through the slides, see what, other people are doing. For marketing, it's great because you can go and see, oh, well, Buzz Mountain did this, I'm gonna steal that. Glean, yes. You're not stealing. I'm gonna improve upon this point and topic, yeah. So,
What did Steve Jobs say? About stealing ideas?
And there is no single one idea,
yeah.
just how you change it.
So, whose connection request do you accept? Do you accept everybody's request? You do? Okay. How do you make the most of those connections that you've accepted?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I generally get their email and send them an email and thank them for letting me be part of their LinkedIn network.
So you do respond when somebody sends you a request.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's a key thing. When people offer to connect with you and you connect, follow up. Follow up is key to so many things. Follow up, shoot them a little mail back that says, thanks for, wanting to connect with me. And is there anything I can do for you?
Yeah.
If there's anything I can help you with, let me know. Yeah.
So, I get a request from a lady who works in a hospital over in India.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what the heck?
And it has nothing to do yet. Ignore that one.
I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah, yeah, and there are people who troll, for lack of a better word, troll LinkedIn and look for opportunities. So, which is kind of what you're going to be doing. I mean, honestly, you're going to be trolling LinkedIn too and looking for opportunities. But, but what you want to do is you want to connect with the people that are going to make a difference in your business. Now, if you're not doing business in California and you've never met this person, you probably aren't going to want to connect with them. You can ignore them. Yeah.
I have a question going back to kind of the post thing.
Okay.
So I'm marketing,
Mhm.
but the company I work for is technology. And
Mhm.
obviously, like, for me, I do a lot for the business, but how
Mhm.
much should I split my posting and everything? Like right now I'm just gung-ho all about technology and everything. And this
Mhm.
even got me thinking, I'm like, I never share anything about social media posts or
Mhm.
anything like that because, so how much do you spend, especially like, I guess your social media, so,
Mhm.
but how much of it is your personal things that you found interesting that you share for your connections, and how much is based off, for me, technology,
Mhm.
like, or insurance for some of our
Yeah.
friends here. So how much is it, do you split your fascinated, this is awesome, I wanna share because I wanna,
Usually I pick the things that captivate me, things that really make a difference in what time management say. That's a great one. And I would share that because everybody needs time management. If it's something that particularly pertains to social media, I may do it, but I may put it in a context with, if you're in technology, how would you use this social media for that venue? So you can kind of collaborate and mesh the two together, but there's all types of things that you can post that are relevant to you as a person. And there again, you might want to do the 80-20 rule for that. Just whatever you're comfortable with, though. And it's not bad to ask people that you know, like, and trust to say, what do you think of this?
am I relevant?
Yeah.
Staying relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
Question.
Okay.
It could be general, do politicians and large organization decision makers, do they use LinkedIn?
Yes. Yes. CEOs are very prominent.
I've noticed that they do not respond to invitation.
Probably because they don't.
Because they have assistants or what?
Well, it could be because they have assistants, but they're probably more likely to not respond to somebody that they don't know. Or that they haven't been introduced to from someone that they do know, like, and trust.
Right, so it very much defeats itself because if you want to make the decision makers, for example, in the city, LinkedIn is not the vehicle to do it.
It can be. It all depends on how you approach it. If you approach it from a standpoint of, I know you, and I would recommend you, and I also know the CEO of this company, I'm going to recommend you because I'm going to recommend you to that. So you have to think about your connections and how they connect to other people. So a recommendation goes a long way.
Connect with someone within that organization that he's familiar with, that CEO is familiar with, there's greater likelihood.
So it's very much like figuring out the structure.
Mhm. Yeah. When I was in advertising, what I would do is I would connect with the marketing director and get friendly with them and create a bond with them, and then they would recommend me to the CEO because the CEO is who signs the checks. So you have to think about it in those type of terms.
I haven't really done any study to see if this is statistical, or this seems to be this way, but if I'm interested in a particular person or organization, I'll, search for that organization and get several people, and send invitations to it, and it seems to be that, if you get 2 or 3 responses, you increase the probability that you're really gonna get the person that you want in that organization.
Exactly. That's very true because the more people you know within an organization makes you really look like you're dedicated to that organization. Does that make sense? Okay. So, who do you know? Connections do make the difference. Reach out to your address book and make connections. How many of you have ever gotten that little thing that pops up that says, do you want to connect your Gmail address book to LinkedIn? Do you do it?
No,
Why not?
because they don't necessarily want to do that. Some of them are not business people.
Okay, so do you take the people from your Gmail address book that are business people and send a connection request to them?
Not necessarily.
Would you want to?
Probably.
Uh-huh. So you have to think about those things, yeah.
I was thinking, that to me, that question has always been, I've developed people in my email for one, track and relationships. And they haven't necessarily given me the permission to share that with
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah,
So that's the reason I've always said no to that.
yeah.
And,
Well, and there are other ways to do that. So if you have, I don't know if you're like me, but I go to these networking events and I have a stack of business cards. Not a stack of business cards. So what do you do with those business cards when you get them? You scan them into your computer. Okay, what do you do after you scan them in? Do they go someplace? They go into your address book? Do you know you can link them to your LinkedIn?
Yeah, but I've said no, I didn't want to do that.
I
Well-
said no because I was worried, it looks like it's gonna send them a connection invitation without me being able to approve it or personalize it in any way, and I don't want it to do that.
So you don't want them to get the just general blast. Okay, so if you have their LinkedIn, or you have their address, and you don't want to get the blast when you send out the card, do you go into LinkedIn, do you spend a little time, maybe 5 minutes or so a day, and pick out the people that you do want to go into there? So you have to think about, if there's somebody that you have a business card for that you want to be a LinkedIn connection with, if you have their email address, when it says, how do you know this person, you plop in that email address and you connect with them that way. So if you don't want to do the thing where you scan your card in and you automatically connect, then that's the other alternative.
Does LinkedIn have that employee?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't remember, is it Connections? Or there's an app for it, but I can't remember what the name is.
Wasn't there an actual
Circle back.
lawsuit or something? Because
Yes.
LinkedIn went out and grabbed everybody's addresses.
They actually had a security breach, but that was quite a number of years ago, so I think they've rectified all of that, so. Reach out to your connections and see if they have a need that you can help with. If there's somebody in your network that you saw posted a job, do you know somebody that will fit that job? If you see that somebody is looking for a specific type of equipment and you know where they could get that equipment at a good price, do you share that? Those are things that, you think about how you can help another person. And by helping that other person, you create that connection and that relationship. Whoop, whoop. Those who give are more likely to make a true connection with people. That's what I just said. Okay, searching LinkedIn for suitable connections to reach out to connections you already have to make introductions. So that's, again, talking about that second degree connection. How do you link with that second degree connection? Don't be afraid to ask for an introduction from somebody that you know, like, and trust. If they know and they like you, they're more than willing usually to say, yeah, I'll introduce you. Now, if you're kind of sketchy, then, you might want to think about that. But for the most part, people will introduce you, especially if they feel like you have something to offer. Connecting. How do you stay connected with your prospects? And we talked about this a little bit earlier. Staying on top of your prospects that are in your network. If you send out an in-mail or an email once a month to the people that are in your network, and it doesn't have to even be once a month, it can be once a quarter, just so long as you stay top of mind with those people so that they know that you're out there and you have something to offer. Make sure that, you're not too salesy again with the message. Be honest, be communicative, and be helpful. Join groups. I love groups. You can have 50 groups, but you don't want to do 50 groups, tell me. Trust me. 50 groups is too many groups. But you can be involved in a whole lot of your target market. So you think about the people that you want to do business with and see if there's a group for that. Set a goal of reaching out to 5 or 6 people a day. It takes you maybe 10 minutes tops. If you reach out to 6 members a day, 5 days a week, that's 1,548 people in 12 months. Can you fill your funnel with that amount of people? You think about just talking to 6 people in a message a day. And that can, like I said, that can be happy birthday. That can be congratulations on your promotion. That can be, is there anything I can help you with? Just think about how you interact with people. All right, so here we have connections. You see, now this is on the web version. So the phone app has a little button at the bottom. You push it. Connections, add contacts, people you may know, and find alumni. So here we're talking about say happy birthday, say congrats. Do all those things. Interact with your people.
I did not know about that function, like the birthday function.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea. Is that rather new to LinkedIn?
No, it's been there for a while.
Really?
Yeah, they've kind of changed how it looks, but
Okay.
yeah, but it's been there for a while.
I didn't know.
And the app makes it super easy. You just go to connections and it pops up and it says this is what's going on in your network, and you say yes, I wanted to say hello, and that's pretty much it.
It's the easiest way to add people too.
It is the easiest way to add people. It is. The app is wonderful.
You don't have to go in there and say, I know this person by.
Yeah,
association."
you say connect and
You
it
say
says,
connect.
yeah. The only thing I don't like about that is you can't customize the message.
Sure.
So, and I think sometimes customizing the message makes a difference between whether somebody connects with you or not, because it's personal. But yeah, I start my day, like I said, every day. Congratulations, happy birthday. hope to see you at, if you know that somebody's gonna go to Schmoozapalooza, you say, hey, hope to see you at Schmoozapalooza, So you think about how and where you see people on a regular basis that are in your network.
When you do that, does it go,
It goes to their messages.
okay, then go
And-
to their email?
And that's a new change. LinkedIn has changed their messaging to be not an in-mail so much as it is like Messenger on Facebook, where it's a constant rolling kind of message. So you see everything that you've interacted with that person in for however long you saved that message for. So, but it's basically an in-mail, but it shows up as a message. So,
They will see that.
yes, they will see that. Yeah. And most of the time I'll get back a thanks, how are you doing? Haven't seen you in a long time. So sometimes the happy birthday turns into, a 6-week conversation, so.
I did have a birthday, and it came through my email, but you
Mhm.
couldn't respond to the email. How do you go back and say, I appreciate
So,
the,
so they sent you a happy birthday
yes,
on LinkedIn and it came to your email, not an in-mail,
right.
correct? Okay, so your notifications are set up to where if anybody responds, then it shoots you an email.
Yeah.
When inside that email, there's a little link where you can say, open in LinkedIn. You open it in LinkedIn and you can respond.
Well, I'll
So,
read that next
yeah.
year.
You used to have it where you could just reply to the email and it would respond, but this new messenger acts a little differently, so. But yeah, there should be a link inside that email that says, view this in LinkedIn, and you view it, hit that button, opens LinkedIn. If you're on your phone, it'll open the LinkedIn app if you have it connected. If you're on your desktop, then it'll bring it up.
Thanks, and then you just put something like that. in the
You
message.
say, thank you, nice to hear from you, that kind of thing. So, we're gonna look at Jonathan's profile, just because, I can. So, now I noticed that I wanna keep up with what Jonathan's doing, so I followed him. Now, I wanna know kind of what's going on, I can share his profile. If I think he's doing something that's really noteworthy and wonderful, I can share his profile. It says right there, share it. Share his profile with somebody else. So you can kind of push him out there. So if you have somebody that you would want to refer to somebody who's maybe not even on LinkedIn, you can share that out there. You can save it as a PDF, so if you have a hard copy, if you're one of those people that like hard copy files of people, if you want to stalk them just a little bit, you can save it to a PDF, or I could block and report him for whatever reason. So, now I noticed while I was on Jonathan's profile, he's a 2nd-degree connection. So that means that I don't know him personally. He's not a 1st-degree connection. So I sent him a request, and I said, oh, I do know you. So now he's a 1st-degree connection. So. Oh, did I go too far? Now. There we go. All right, so I sent him a connection, and it asked me how I know him. And here I updated this little message so that he knew that I wasn't just trolling for him. Looking forward to seeing you on Thursday. So he knows I'm a legitimate person, and so I sent the invitation, and he very promptly responded. So now we're a 1st-degree connection. But anytime that you can change up those messages, I highly recommend it. Oops, again, too fast.
So just to clarify, when you need to send out, if you're connecting with someone for the first time,
Mhm.
you recommend never use that default,
I never use that default if I can help it.
but you can on the app, you can't. It
On the,
forces you.
and that's what we were talking about earlier. On the app, it automatically defaults to that message, so, yeah.
On the PC or website,
Mhm.
unless you check that you worked with this person or something
Mhm.
like that, it won't send it.
You have to
It
say
asks
they're
for
a
email.
friend.
Yeah, you have to say that they're a friend.
On an iPhone, it
Boom.
just goes through.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it seems a little odd. I mean, I use it all the time. but-
Personally, I think that the app hasn't, or the website version hasn't caught up with the app. And most interaction, I'm gonna say probably 95% of interaction now happens on a mobile device of some sort. So, the app is where it's at.
Does the iPhone version pull from your contacts or email? Because I noticed some of the people that
It will pull up in suggestions, it will pull up people that it sees in, that you haven't connected with, that
Right.
may be on your iPhone, yes.
I see.
So it will say, you haven't connected with, do you want to send them an invite? You know, you'll get those little prompts. Sometimes those prompts are really good to pay attention to, too. Okay, now, you see on Jonathan's profile, there's a little box. This little box says, contact info. Contact info. If Jonathan had a whole bunch of contact information, he could put it here. So I have his Twitter handle. I can follow him on Twitter now. If he had his website up here, his website would display there. So I could automatically click that and check out his website. So you can do a lot of different things if you're willing to kind of troll around. Now he's going to add his website because he sees that it's on there.
Didn't know that wasn't there, huh?
So there are things that you can see, ways to connect. Now see, we're a second degree connection. I'm not connected to him yet here. So if I wanted to interact with him, but don't have his email, I can contact him through Twitter. Twitter's easy to connect with people. So just kind of be willing to kind of troll around in people's profiles. Now, this is my friend Amy. And if you've been on LinkedIn, you see, does Amy have these skills? Would I recommend Amy for any of these things? When you endorse a person, you're basically saying that they're good at a certain skill. People will endorse willy-nilly.
No, they don't even know me.
They don't even know you, yes. Did you know that you don't have to accept those endorsements? You can pick and choose.
How do you accept an endorsement?
Well, normally they'll just pop up and say so-and-so has recommended you. But you can actually go onto your profile and pick and choose what endorsements you want to show up so that you can show that you're an expert in such a field. So, now, if I want to rearrange or add, if there's a skill that you don't see, you can add it. See, I started to type here and all of the things that had QU in them popped up. So you can see the things that maybe you don't have in your endorsement list that you want people to endorse you for. So you can go ahead and add that to your profile and then have people endorse you for something that may not be on your profile just yet. You can also notify, see this little button? This little button can really rock a person's world. Notify your network. And you can also really piss people off with this button. If you're working on your profile and you're doing a whole lot of different things, turn that button off, because every time you make a change, it will send out a message that says, Charmin just updated her profile. She's now an expert in yada, yada, yada. And so if that little button is turned on, you can drive people crazy. But now, endorsements or not endorsements, but notifying your network when you update things can also be a good way to get in front of them. Just don't do it constantly. You know, pick out something that if you've updated your job experience to something that you didn't have on there before that you really want people to know about, and you've updated, slide that little thing over that says yes and let people know that you do that. And it'll show up in that news feed that we talked about.
I will leave it that the next time you do this.
All right, so we're back on my friend Amy's profile. Now, if you go to relationship on the profile, you can see these little tabs. One says note, one says reminder, one says tag, and it says when I connected with her. So you can see when I met Amy, when we actually connected on LinkedIn. Under note, I can put, I met Amy through Shelley Mosher. So I know. Now, nobody else sees these notes. These are just for you. So when you go through a person's profile, you can put notes on them to say, this is a good person, this is a bad person, this is somebody I want to do business with, this is somebody I've been trying to connect with. Saw this person at such and such place. You can say how you met the person. You can add all kinds of things in there. So that's a really good feature to use if you're using LinkedIn kind of as a CRM to keep up with your client base. The other thing I love about this is you can set a reminder. I can say, hey, I'm gonna call Amy in a week. LinkedIn will go, beep, it's been a week, call Amy. So, yeah,
Speaking of CRM.
Yeah.
Do you use Salesforce or any others?
I
to
use
integrate?
Salesforce personally.
Okay.
And it does, there are interactions, there are some things you have to pay for. I hate that Salesforce nickels and dimes you, but yeah. They play well together. So,
Why don't you choose Salesforce over somebody else?
I wouldn't, my company did.
Is there somebody else you choose if you would?
I like Insightly, insightly.com. That's one of the ones that I like. It's very user-friendly and it's really inexpensive. So if you're a small business, you can use Insightly you can start out for free. And as your business grows, you can grow it.
I
Can
have
I
the same
recommend one as
Uh-huh,
well?
yeah.
There's one that's, like the next level up from like Insightly, and
Mhm.
there's another one called Less Annoying CRM that's similar to Insightly that I absolutely loved and used for years. But there's one that is very similar to Infusionsoft that I love to share because Infusionsoft is too expensive in my opinion for a small business owner. It's called Green Rope.
Green Rope,
Green Rope.
okay.
And I've been using it for about a year and a half, and it has your calendaring function, your reminder function. You can put your clients in there, you can upload things to their files, so it saves it. It has your calendar, so you can send people a link so they can look at your calendar and set an appointment. It segregates mail if you wanna do segregated mail, so.
Nice.
And Infusionsoft has a high buy-in of, I think, $2,500. Green Rope does not have it, it's month to month, and I pay for my list size about $130 a month, but I took away having, this system for my calendar, this system to, do my email, and so really, it's the same price as having all these other little things.
All rolled into one.
Is it integrated with LinkedIn?
That I'm not 100% sure about. I'm not, but I will tell you, they're relatively new. I really started with them kind of from their beginning. And, they are really responsive when you have something you'd like them to add. In fact, I use them when I run my events to do my lead page and then the pay process so people can go in my website and pay for my event right online.
What are
And-
their monthly price again?
I pay it's like $130 a month. Yeah, it's really good, and, I've asked them, I've emailed them several times, and I said, oh, I would really like it if you put this feature, like, for example, when somebody sets a calendar thing up or an appointment with you, it didn't ask them to fill in their phone number, so they could go on my website, and it does host your website, and they could go on your
Interesting.
website and book a calendar appointment with you, but you just had their name, you're like, So I wrote to them immediately, I said, problem, and they
Yeah.
fixed it immediately.
That's
So,
cool.
Instead of Infusionsoft, you meant to say Confusionsoft.
It is Infusionsoft, yes.
Okay, so,
Is that hooked up with the calendar, to your phone maybe or not?
Yeah, it actually, populates on my Google Calendar, so it
Nice.
hooks up.
There's 1,000 contacts, you get unlimited users, unlimited emails for $149 a month.
Sweet.
That's the starter.
We use one called Zoho.
Yeah, I heard so.
It's pretty cheap. It's
Yeah.
as low as $12 per user, or if you get the business grade, it's $50 a user. And we've found great success using that. It's got a great campaign tool, so it can help you build and create your campaign to mail out. It's pretty nice. There's a lot of good features in that.
Does it integrate well with LinkedIn?
That it does not.
Oh, okay.
What was that?
Zoho,
ZOHO. And it has a good app.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's got a great app actually. For your website.
People who use Google Gmail, Google Docs a lot, use Streak because it's totally integrated with Google as a
Streak?
CRM. Streak.
We use X2 engine and it's very inexpensive, but it's a full engine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, tagging. In LinkedIn, you can tag and you can add tags. So if I want to say that,
Tag you in.
Amy is, yeah, If I wanna say that Amy is a MLM marketer, I can add that and make that a tag. If I wanna say that she's a friend, I can add that tag. So that if I wanna go back and search later in the advanced search field, I can search for specific tags. So if I have people in my network that are under one kind of tag, say, I have a whole list of MLM marketers, it will pull up everybody that I have tagged as an MLM.
And
So
the,
the-
sorry.
I was just gonna say, so this is basically just for you to see.
Yeah, they don't see this at
They
all,
don't
this
see
is
it.
just you. You are the only person that sees this. And it's a great feature if you're tooling around in there a lot. So, and the other thing is when they update their LinkedIn profile, you know you have the most recent information, so that's pretty cool too.
Do you know what the limit is on the advanced search?
Uh,
Cause I hit it the other day.
for the paid version, I don't think there is a limit.
There's not, but for the.
But for the, I think it's 100. Yeah. At least that's what it used to be,
It
was
renews
100.
at the first of the month though.
Yeah, the first of every month, it's just like your in-mails, you get 10 new ones at the beginning of the month, so. Removing the competition from your profile. So have you ever noticed that when you go onto someone's profile, on the sidebar, it says, people like this. So they're looking at you, but all of a sudden, you can see people who have a job similar to yours. So you have all of these little people who could steal your business. You can get rid of that. Wonderful to get rid of your competition. One fell swoop. So, if you want to hide this feature, you go to the privacy tab. On your privacy section, you say, where are you at? Privacy tab, top of the page. Under the privacy section, click change next to viewers of this profile also viewed. You unclick that little box, say yes or no to whatever, if you want it there, if you don't want it there, and it changes automatically, and all of a sudden, nobody sees your competitors.
I use that all the time.
That is awesome.
Did you say all the time you have to be?
No,
Well, I was thinking about, I use that all the time just when I search for people,
yeah,
because it brings up people in the field that there's somebody.
Mhm, yeah.
very helpful.
yeah. But you can turn it off if you don't want people to see people that are like you.
Good enough.
Very helpful tool. All right, so a little bit more about creating that perfect lead list. Spend a few minutes each day searching out connections of your contacts to see who you would like to meet. Make a note and ask a connection for an introduction. We talked about this before. Don't be afraid to ask people for a connection. You should know them, so hopefully that's a good thing. Oh, ooh. Why are you going so speedy? Okay. Pay attention to the LinkedIn recommendations. When it pops up with you, would you like to know, or do you know, or have you known? All of those little recommendations, those generally start out with the people who have the strongest possibility of a link towards you. So either they're in your email and it's seen that, or it's seen that they're a second degree connection who could possibly be a first degree connection. And if you're on the app, boom, it's instantaneous. You can get a connection really fast. I highly recommend using the mobile app. Utilize business cards. We talked about that too. Gathering those business cards. When you have that big old stack, you want to convert the people that you have those business cards for that can actually do some business with you. Good. Back it up. Follow your current clients and prospects. So, when you're on LinkedIn, do you see people that you would like to do business with? Do they have a company page? If they have a company page, do you follow their company page?
What does that mean?
What? Following the company page?
Yes, is it not just individuals?
It's not just individuals. LinkedIn has a feature called a company page and a showcase page.
I haven't done that.
So you have to have a certain number of connections in order to have a company page, and I think the number's 100. You have to have 100 connections in order to create a company page. Once you have established yourself with 100 connections, you create a company page that is basically a landing page for your business. And you can put in all of the things that are relevant to your business. And it's also a great place to post information, like long form blog posts. If you blog, that's a great place to blog about your business. If you have certain things that your business does. Say you're a storefront and you have a section that is menswear, women's wear, and children's wear. You can have a showcase page that will have menswear, you can have a showcase for women's wear, and you can post things that are specific to that category. So if you want to separate your products, you can create a showcase page for those. So that's kind of a fun way to draw a little more attention to the things that you do besides just your business.
So how would you search that? How does that show up?
It shows up when you do a search on the business, it'll show up, and then under their business name, it'll have those showcase pages listed. And a lot of people don't do showcase pages because they don't know about them. So if you have, especially in technology, if you have certain things that are, like your very best seller, and you want to put that in there, say this phone is the most amazing, video phone that you can buy, you can have a showcase page that showcases that one item. And you can post things that are geared specifically towards that.
Is there a limit to how many showcase pages you can have?
I don't believe so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's fully HTML.
It is. Yeah. And it's really, really a nice way to get in there and see specific things. You can put product photos on it. You know how you can do a custom header in LinkedIn?
Right.
You can create a custom header for each one of your showcase
Well,
pages.
And that's what I was gonna ask, like, so video phone, we'll just call
Mhm.
out our product.
Yeah.
If a company is looking for video phones, or somehow, for whatever reason, they're on LinkedIn looking for
Mhm.
it, and they type it in the search bar, will our company showcase page show up?
If you have the keywords built into it, it
Keywords,
will.
right.
Mhm.
And on Google?
It may. A lot of times, the things that are on LinkedIn get pushed in Google Analytics up
Right.
because they have such a strong connection.
Okay.
So,
Just a question.
yeah.
We have a large website.
Mhm.
Can you do backlink or it's illegal?
I don't know. That is something I do not know about backlinks. I'm not sure. So that
Instead of putting just overcrowding,
yeah.
can you do width and then a backlink?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So, that web world is not my expertise.
I was just wondering if it's
Yeah.
illegal, if LinkedIn does not let you get all of those.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think you can put the code in for that.
Yeah.
You cannot?
I think it would come up as a bunch of jumble.
I was gonna say, it's gotta be
Yeah.
permission based.
Yeah.
I don't think it's HTML compatible like that.
Hmm. I think that you can put in code for some things though, can't you?
I don't know if you can do like Google Analytics and stuff,
Yeah.
though. I've never tried it. but-
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question to find out.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna mention this social selling podcast just because it's one of my favorites. And in your handout, you should have the link on there. But if you get a chance, it's like a 9-minute video, but it kind of gives you, it explains the second and third degree connections to a really great extent. So,
Can you keep it down just a second,
Mhm,
'cause I
sure.
can't read it on the
oh, I'm
sheet.
sorry, it's probably tiny, isn't it? I'm
It's
sorry.
also sort of very
Yeah. But it's a really good podcast if you get a chance to look at it. Social selling. And it talks about a lot of, just besides LinkedIn, it talks about a lot of different avenues, and I get some really good information from that podcast, so. Sometimes they can be kind of dry as toast too, though, so don't do it when you're tired. Everybody got it?
Frank Heyer,
Hmm?
is that the guy?
Yes.
It's back to that question,
Mhm.
decision makers use Twitter
Mhm.
or Facebook or LinkedIn the most?
LinkedIn,
You know?
LinkedIn,
So
yes.
they communicate
Yes,
public relations
yes.
events and also.
Yeah, yeah, like I said, unless you're checking out their grandkids and that kind of thing, Facebook is probably not the place where they're gonna be.
I'm actually agreeable with, I don't
Yeah.
like Facebook. and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. They're more likely to be on LinkedIn than anywhere else. Okay, whoop. Back up. Ahaha. I love this little graphic because it's so true. Have you ever, been spammed on LinkedIn? Mm-hmm, yeah. What kind of spam do you get?
Selling.
Yeah, I
Selling.
have this opportunity, but
Yeah.
to talk to you about.
Uh-huh, yeah.
10 minutes on your calendar.
So what do you do when you're spammed?
Delete,
Do you block them though? I mean, you can go and block them,
depends on
what it
what
is.
industry they're in,
Yeah,
or what their title is.
yeah.
Gotta be,
So beware of the spammers and know how you want to approach them. It's always good to have a play that you know you're gonna use. I don't know about you, but I've had little old men in India try to date me.
Yes.
So.
Digital
Yeah, I don't know.
Botox is a wonderful thing.
Huh?
Digital Botox is
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. I love the Photoshop. So, yeah, just be aware that, that can happen and know how you're gonna react to it. Okay, now, we're gonna talk a little bit about getting involved and how you go about getting into groups. So, I like to prospect in groups and see who I know that somebody else is on the same topic as me. They kind of get where I'm at. They understand, because I'm just kind of weird, so I like people who kind of get that I'm kind of weird. So prospecting in groups I think is a lot of fun. Finding the right group for you can kind of be a little daunting. Don't be afraid to join a group and then decide that it's not for you and unjoin it. It doesn't hurt anybody's feeling if you opt out of a group. So don't be afraid to do that, because there are a bunch of groups out there. Search based on your industry for starters. If there's a certain industry that you want to be in touch with, look for those groups. Look at a prospect's file, see what groups they're in, because a lot of times at the bottom of their profile, it will show what groups that those people are in. And you can say, oh, I want to be in that group because he's in that group. And you can sometimes create a connection that way. And you're more likely to say, if you want to get, say, a third-degree connection, convert it to a first-degree connection, and jump that middleman, you are more likely to do that through a group, because you can actually correspond with someone who's in a group without having to go through that red tape. So, the other thing to think about is, are they involved in groups that you can contribute to? Is there something that you have a knowledge base for that you can give insight to, that you would want to do business with that person? Can you help them in some way? This one is one of my favorite, alumni groups. People forget about LinkedIn and their whole education side. So if you have an alma mater that you are faithful to, then by all means, look up that alma mater and see who's connected on there. See who went to school at the same place you went to school. That can be an automatic connection. It's a great topic starter. So you can create a really good bond. Another thing to do is, if someone has gone to a school that you went to and they're in a similar field, but they're much younger than you can mentor and create a great relationship that may get you in the door for something else. Get into a group that allows you to add value and build out your network with fill up prospects. I mean, you can really get into a lot of prospecting through groups. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Make use of your notifications. If you are in a group, the very first thing you want to do is set your notifications, because if it'll automatically default to, you'll get an email every time somebody posts something, you will go insane, because you will have 1,000 ding, ding, ding. Somebody's just posted something, especially if it's an active group. So set it to where you get an email a week, or on an ongoing basis, so that you can keep up, or you can set it to where you don't get an email at all, and you can just check on the group when you're on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Charmin, if my target market is not business oriented, like it's new families and it's new homeowners, they
Mhm.
wouldn't be on there, would they?
They may. What you can look more for, I would think, for your business would be nonprofits. Nonprofits are on LinkedIn in a very big way. So that type of thing, I would look for people who have a heart for the environment, and those would be the people, and those would be the groups that I would get into, because that's going to be your market. And that's only because I know all about Carol's Beach Green. So you can have up to 50 groups. I don't recommend being in 50 groups because you're never going to pay really good attention to any of them if you're in 50 groups. So, like I said, there's no harm in experimenting, seeing what groups you like, what groups you don't like to get involved with. Whatever you decide to do group-wise, make sure that you do it well. It's just like engagement. If you're involved in a LinkedIn group, be involved. Be engaged. You don't have to post every day. You don't have to be there all the time, but make sure that your conversations that you're having are worthwhile. If you're not adding value to anybody, what's your point in being there? Whoops. Ooh. Think about, are your discussions doing anybody any good? Are they interesting? Do people care that you're there? If you weren't there tomorrow, would they care that you left? So think about how you interact with the people that are in groups. Yes, you're looking for business, but you also want to do that I'm helpful thing and reach out and be value added. Take it easy. Don't be the guy in the room that overtakes a conversation. Don't cannonball, make a big splash, and then there's nothing. Pay attention to how a group operates. Now, some groups, especially if they're a group that has a moderator, sometimes you will have to be accepted into that group. And when you accept that group, you may have guidelines. Some groups have some serious guidelines that you can do this, but you can't do that. You can talk about this, but you can't post a job. Now, some people, they open it all up. You can set it up to where you can have a job discussion. You can have actually little tabs in there in the group that say, I have a job, I have an opportunity, I have, so you can have different venues of conversation going on. So if you have questions or topics that are raised by people, don't monopolize the conversation, but be intuitive as to how that group works. Sometimes you'll go to a group and it'll be one person posting all the time. That same person just kind of runs the group. It's like when you go out to a networking function and that one person, everywhere you go, they kind of follow you and they jump into your conversation. Have you ever had that person in the room? Oh, they're talking to him, I'm going to talk to him too. So you kind of don't want to be that person in the room.
Have you ever started a group?
Yes.
Just an example.
I started a group for the marketing company that I worked for, and we did a group on marketing, social marketing. And it went really well for a while, and then I left the company, and then it disappeared. So
Just like blast posts about it on, like, hey, everybody, if you're in marketing, check out this group.
yeah. You can share a link. You can integrate it into your Facebook and all kinds of things. So by all means, go across platforms and say, this is what I'm doing, check it out. There's no harm in saying and promoting what you're doing. It's also a really great way to become an expert. If you have a group, you manage a group, you can moderate what comments come in and out and say, you do want this or you don't want that. But that means that every comment that comes in, you have to say, okay, it's all right. Okay, it's all right. So how many, so you kind of have to watch what your time value is, So I wouldn't recommend doing too many groups. Stay reasonably active. Like I said, consistency makes a big difference in anything social. Consistency is key. If you have to participate, you don't have to participate every day. but make sure that when you do participate, that it's a good conversation. And conversations can last for several weeks sometimes. I've had conversations with people that, you know, they ask this question and then they take it offline and send you an in-mail, and all of a sudden you're having an email conversation that lasts weeks sometimes, depending on what the subject matter is. Sometimes they'll actually pick up the phone and say, hey, can I actually talk to you in person? So it's always good to get out there and put yourself in as an authority in what you do. And one of the ways to do that is through a group. So you have all of these people. What are they saying? When you create a group, LinkedIn offers HubSpot. Are any of you familiar with HubSpot? HubSpot has some great little informational bits that they put out there, and I like to steal their stuff. Oh, sorry, I didn't say steal. I borrow their stuff. So, if no one has created a group for your industry, if you have an industry specific that's not out there, by all means start one. Become that expert. Create a group for your industry, not your company. I know so many people who do this wrong. They say, oh, I'm going to start a group and it's all about my company. Why do I want to go there? Tell me why I want to go there. People are more likely to join a group when it's not simply fans of a company. Design your group logo. You get this amount of space, so make sure that it looks good this big. Because those little bitty, I see so many people who cram, it's like the Bible on a postage stamp. You know, they cram so much stuff into that little box, and you go, what is that? I don't know what that is. You know, so make sure that your group, if you start a group, make sure that your little group logo resonates and actually is something that you can see, because it'll end up being on everything that you post. So, display in the group the directory and members' profiles. So you have a group, you have 50 members in that group. People want to interact. Show that directory of who's in it. There are some groups that are closed and they don't show that. That directory can be gold. Invite coworkers, past colleagues, customers to join in your conversations. Get people interactive, especially if you have people that you know, because they're more likely to talk to you. So reach out to those people that you know and say, hey, I've got this discussion going on. Would you mind, chiming in? Send them a personal message. It doesn't hurt to do that. Like we said, promote your group on your website, on your blog, on your email newsletter. Put that tag in there. Yeah.
Can I share a really cool story about groups?
Uh-huh.
Last week I talked to a realtor up in Virginia. She's up in Fredericksburg. And she was talking about not a group that she has created, but a group that she joined. And one of the groups that she joined that I thought was kind of interesting was a group for Chinese investment.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was learning to speak Mandarin, so she wanted to join that group, and so she ended up joining the group. Well, what it turned out, actually, this LinkedIn group had a meetup group as well in the area, so she was able to develop not only the connections through LinkedIn to that group, but actually she attended their meetup group, made some connections there. Well, long story short, one of the group members within that Chinese investors group referred her to his boss, which is the CEO of the company. Ended up closing a $40 million contract.
Wow.
Commercial real estate deal just because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that one little group.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, groups can be so powerful. And that's another point about staying local. If your business is local, look for groups that are local.
yep.
If you're involved in a group, but the group meets in California and you're here, is it really going to do you any good? Think about where you're going to do the most good at. So, invite industry experts. So if you know somebody who's an industry expert, say if I were going to say I need help with my small business, I would say, Lisa, would you come to my group and talk? Would you say something about, whatever it is that, I'm struggling with at the moment in my small business? Could you expand on that? Invite the people that you know have skills. Cross-market to related groups. Now, there are a lot of groups out there that this element will touch this element. So they're not exactly the same, but say a restaurant company and a drink manufacturer or a distributor. You know, those things, they're going to have some crossover business. So if you can get involved with a group that has some crossover, join both groups. Get involved with both groups. You know, and pull people from, say, hey, I know somebody in this group that I think would be great for you. You know, by all means, use that referral network. The referrals make a big difference in how you approach a group. Do you feel like this sometimes where you're juggling 1,000 things and trying to make everything work? Managing a group can be difficult and can be time consuming. So when you think about starting a group, think about how much time you're going to have invested into it. Use featured discussions to highlight particular content offers. So if there's something specific that you have going on that you want to highlight, use that. Or use the things, you get that LinkedIn BuzzFeed kind of that's going on with all of the influencers. And they have some great articles. You can, on your Pulse, yeah. You use those influencers on the Pulse and use them in your group discussion. Did you see this comment about, what do you think? Create open-ended questions that people can answer and engage with. But you want open-ended questions that are not just yeses and nos. You want something that people can really bite into and answer and start conversations. So if you use the Pulse and there's a really great article on, say, time management again, and you bring that up and you talk about it in a way that, you agreed with this or you didn't agree with that, bring that out. Start a conversation that's something that people can interact with. Send announcements. If you're managing a group and you're going to do something like, I know there's a group in Knoxville that is a LinkedIn meetup group. So people who are involved in LinkedIn get together, they're all on LinkedIn, and they have a meetup. They send out an announcement that says, hey, everybody that's in our LinkedIn group, we're going to meet at the pub downtown. Come downtown. Let's have a drink together and talk. So send out those announcements to get some buzz created about your group when you're going to have something, especially something that's going to be local and happening. Announcements also get pushed up. You can pin things to the top if you have a certain discussion topic that you want to make more relevant than anything else that's in your group feed. You can pin that to the top so that that's the first thing that anybody sees when they come to your page, when they come to your group. Import your blog and RSS feed. So, how many of you blog? Okay, so do you publish your blog on LinkedIn? Do you put it on groups? Do you send it to groups? You can send your blog to groups. So, if there's a group that your topic would interact with, by all means put it on your group, yeah.
So you don't have to manage it to do that. You can just do it if you're a member.
You can do it if you're a member, yes. If it's a moderated group, it'll have to be, of course, relevant, and somebody will say, yes, you can, or no, you can't, but yeah.
I was gonna say that really should be into a group where you're kind of active, right? So you can
Yeah,
see yourself.
yeah,
and
it's
know
not
who
gonna
you
be,
are.
it's not gonna be one
Yeah,
where
you don't wanna
you,
just,
yeah,
salesy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and generally, I would say if you're involved in that group, you kind of know what they're doing, like, goes back to know how a group interacts and how they behave before you start throwing things out there. Creating a group can help you be an expert. So everybody wants to be an expert in their field. If you have business contacts that you want to interact with and you want them to see that you are involved, engaged, and know what you're talking about, groups is a fantastic way to do that. We're going to talk a little bit about searching, and I have some handouts for searching. So there are two of them, and I'm sure that all of you use the Boolean search tool. Do you do that? Do you use a Boolean search? Does anybody? No. Okay. So, the Boolean search is when you put the little quote marks around it and say or and, or, so. Take one of those and pass it down, and then, here's some specialized
Golden,
Boolean.
golden, golden idea.
Golden idea. And there are also search things that help you within your advanced search. So everybody, once everybody kind of gets that, we'll kind of start going through a little bit of advanced. How am I doing on time?
Yes, I think we got like five minutes.
Okay, so we'll run through search real quick, and then if you need me back, we can do that. We can do mobile versions another time.
Find a specific group.
Huh?
How do you find this?
Search engine, when you go to the search engine, you can tell it that you're looking for groups.
Okay,
So you can tell it what you're looking for,
okay.
and you can put in an industry, and it'll show up. And when, in your search feed, if you just do the big search at the top, it says find people, jobs, companies, and more. If you put in something group, like automotive industry group, then it should give you a list. And also you can go to there's a tab on the mobile, or on the desktop version that says groups, where you can pull down and see what's there. And you can search to infinity and beyond for groups. There's just a ton of them.
Yeah. I'm looking away to narrow it down.
Yeah. Yeah, and the more specific you get with your search, the better that will be. I actually need. All right, so now you all know about adding the quotes and how to say and, or, and be a little more specific about what you're searching for? Yeah?
Boolean.
The Boolean search? One of my favorite things in the world. All right, so the other things we're going to talk about. So you're in the advanced search. Instead of using this little bar up here at the top, you're going to use this little advanced button right off to the side. A lot of people miss it. In an advanced search, you can really whittle things down for what you're looking for to create that perfect lead list. And you can save it. You can save a search so that you can go back and do that search over and over again. So if there's something that you're constantly running for, you can do that. So this one has social selling or business to business keywords. So you can search for keywords. You can search for name if you know a specific person's name that you're looking for. You can search, see this one says sales or inside sales. And there again, it's a Boolean search. It has the little quotes. So, current or past. If you want to select that that's their current position, you can look for that. You can put in a company. You can put in a school. If they attended University of Tennessee and you want to know about it, it's there. You can find them. Location. You can include relationships. If you only want to search your first degree connections, or if you want to check your second degree connection, or if you want to check your group members. If you're involved in a group and you want to look for a group member that's specific, you can find that group member. Location, Hawaiian Islands, Jamaica, Mexico, you can put in anything there. So anywhere that you want to go in the world, it's there. You can add, if it's not there, you can add it and look for it. Industries, you can put in specific industries. Groups, if you're involved in a group, that will automatically be there. So your group function. Years of experience. If you're looking for somebody who has 5 or more years of experience in a certain field, because you know that that's the person that's probably going to have a little more influence, then you can do that. You can narrow it down by that. You can also narrow down by the function that they have, whether they're in real estate or they're in, I don't know, think of something, what's it say? Sales. What their specific seniority level. I love this one. If you're looking for that CEO, the advanced search, you can search for just CEOs. Or you can search for VPs if you want to go up the chain and get through them that way. You can say, okay, I'm going to get the VP, and then he's going to introduce me to the CEO, which happens a lot. So use your advanced search, because that puppy can get you lots of information. So that's about it for my time.